Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Friday edition of Prime News on my major premiere live from Douala. My name is Gienda Peldrin Blanche King. Joseph Chebonkeng Kalabopse is the new president of the National Communication Council. He was appointed today by a presidential decree to take effect from the date of signature. He replaces Peter Esuka. Professor Eno Tanjong was equally appointed member of the National Communication Council. Away from that, bilateral cooperation and the current socio-political crisis rocking the two English-speaking regions of the country were among top issues discussed yesterday by President Paul Biya of Cameroon and the French ambassador to Cameroon, Christophe Guilou. Christophe Guilou was a guest at the Unity Palace yesterday. Eileen Sama with details in the following report.
Monsieur Christophe Guilou, French ambassador to Cameroon's meeting with the President of the Republic, His Excellency Paul Biya, at the Unity Palace on Thursday, June 3, 2021 in Yaoundé, was very timely, as both statesmen touched on many issues, including France's support to African economies, with focus on taking Cameroon to the next level.
We had an extensive discussion with President Paul Biya, and we raised a number of topics, among them the international situation, and I briefed the President about the conclusion of the recent summit about financing African economies that was held a few days ago in Paris, and the country was represented by the Minister of Finance.
However, the most salient issue, the socio-political situation in the country, which has kept her in turmoil for 4 years and counting, was not left out, as well as bilateral ties binding the two nations for decades now.
We had also had an exchange of views about the regional situation, and finally we discussed about the situation in Cameroon and the development of bilateral relations between our two countries.
Worthy of note is the fact that the French ambassador's visit to the country comes on the heels of France's security equipment donation to Cameroon to beef up security and fight against terrorism, as the country is currently facing security threats in 6 of its 10 regions, battling with Boko Haram militants in the far north, highway robbery and kidnappings for ransoms in the north and Adamawa regions, rebels in the east from neighboring Central African Republic, and most devastating, the armed conflict in the two English-speaking regions of the country with the separatist fighters.
Some inhabitants in the Senga neighborhood, Douala 1 municipality, staged a protest yesterday to express their frustration and grievances following a decision to demolish some buildings announced by the Douala Port Authority. According to the angry residents, this is an attempt to send them to the streets. Help less details in the following report.
They are on the streets decrying a decision that would deprive their kids from their rights to education and subsequent evacuation of their settlement. This is a Senga neighborhood in Douala 1 municipality. The families are out today because of the news of an imminent demolition announced by the Douala Port Authority. Some houses and schools fall within the demolition line and will be taken down in the process. In their numbers, mothers, fathers, pupils and students are out to disrupt the process. They say enough is enough and the constant effort to rid them of their land has to stop, especially as many of them have nowhere else to go. Many other neighborhoods in Douala are facing demolition threats. After Lokbesu and Makepe, works are ongoing in the New Bell neighborhood. These houses are demolished for different reasons, though most of the reasons are linked to town planning, safety, and urbanization. After the staged protests at the Douala 1 municipality in the Senga neighborhood, authorities of the Douala 1 council were present to calm the angry population, promising better solutions in the days ahead.
At least 2 persons have lost their lives following a road accident which occurred along the Yaoundé-Douala highway around Puma. According to reports, a vehicle heading towards Douala from Yaoundé violently hit another coming from the opposite direction. Victims or injured victims of the accident are currently receiving treatment at the St. Andre Hospital in Puma. Yesterday's accident comes few days after 1 person died following a collision between 2 trucks along the same stretch of road. Away from that, 3 men aged 30, 35 and 41 respectively are currently under custody at the Mobile Police Intervention Unit in Bonabo here in Douala. They were caught with fake banknotes and they've been accused of promoting the circulation of fake banknotes or counterfeits in the country. Details with Fonquinta.
The fight against the production and circulation of fake banknotes in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala, by elements of the National Gendarmerie has yielded fruits. This time, 3 men aged 30, 35 and 41 years old respectively are currently under custody at the Mobile Intervention Police Unit in Bonanjo after a search operation was carried out in Bonaberry neighborhood in Douala 4 subdivision. Following information from the population about the circulation of these fake banknotes in several neighborhoods in the Douala 4 subdivision, law enforcement officers during their raid intercepted the 3 suspects who have been using these notes in local stores. Their operation strategy is simple. They take these fake notes of 500 francs, 1,000 and 2,000 francs to small shops occupied by the elderly persons and the young and those in isolation. According to one of the suspects, their sole aim is to change the fake notes as they specialize in buying small food items. Following investigations, the suspects revealed the main supplier of the counterfeit notes is based in Yaoundé, confirmed through a telephone call one of them placed.
Yes, tomorrow. Tomorrow now. Yes.
The 3 men were caught alongside fake banknotes and products they successfully bought with the notes. Investigations are currently underway to track down all those involved in this activity.
A special wake service to honor and celebrate the life of Right Reverend Nyasako Ninko was organized yesterday here in Douala at the Presbyterian Church, Bonaberry. During the service, the deceased was described by many as an orator, seconded by none. Darling Gonde was part of this wake service. She compiled the following.
These hundreds of Christian faithful sympathizers and well-wishers have begun paying their last respect to the fallen hero, the very right Reverend Dr. Nyasako Ninku, Moderator Emeritus of the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon, who died April 27, 2021, here in Douala. During the special wake service greatly attended by both top-ranking state and non-state officials in the likes of Senator Belamuki Charles, Barrister Ntumfoniko Hale, Chief Mrs. Ada Casey, Professor Viban Sami Chumbo. So much has been said positively of the deceased.
This is a man who is so loving, so kind, so gentle, very, very dynamic, intelligent, and above all, he has the fear of the Lord.
I consider him an extraordinary human being, a pastor whose mission and calling put together were all beyond compare.
The Reverend Nku was not only an ordinary pastor, he was a great leader with a great vision.
The thing I remember most about him is the humility. Coming to consult me for the second time, he came with a bunch of plantains with his wife to give thanks to me for what I'd done.
Emotional moments, grieving reflections, inconsolable are just a few words to describe the state of the mourners who, however, have been comforted by the guest preacher, the Reverend Gokombwe Thomas, drawing inspiration from John's revelation, giving the hope of life after death through Christ Jesus. While officiating the service, Reverend Kang Dennis, parish pastor of PC Bonaberry Douala, was also assisted by the Bishop of the Anglican Church alongside the College of PCC pastors present. And to this man of God, the late Moderator Emeritus was not just a colleague, but a leader par excellence.
The very Reverend Dr. Nyasako Ninku late was a father to us. In my seminary days and in my early days as a young pastor, he was a very prominent personality in the church. And to tell you the truth, he was such a man of his own class, a colossus, so to speak, a charismatic preacher, an eloquent journalist, and a man that if he preaches even for 2 hours, you will not get tired listening to him.
Banku, as we fondly called him, was an icon in the PCC, and there was so much that we shared together, and I think that we had every reason today to celebrate his life.
Speaking on behalf of her family, the late moderator's wife, Madame Grace, also extended words of gratitude to all those joining them in sympathizing, greatly animated with the singing of hymns, songs of praise and worship, the mourners have added their voices to those of others the world at large in wishing the late moderator emeritus of the PCC a peaceful repose at the Lord's bosom. Reason why it said, parting is such sweet sorrow.
May the souls of the faithful departed rest in perfect peace. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the 6:30 Prime News on my Major Prime. The month of June is Migraine and Headache Awareness Month. According to reports, the disease affects approximately 1 billion people worldwide with symptoms like stress, emotional imbalance, dizziness, and more. And this is threatening or life-threatening over time, as Bukengu Kmer Worthy tells us in the report as follows.
Migraine and headache disorders are some of the most common disorders of the nervous system. According to the World Health Organization, 1 in every 7 adults worldwide has migraine. This estimate can be 3 times more common in women than men, most of which is born from stress, extreme fatigue, and hormonal flux during menstruation.
Migraine is a neurologic disease that has been identified as a leading cause of years of disability in people under the age of 50 years. It directly affects more than 1 billion people worldwide, and the prevalence peaks between the ages of 35 and 39 years. It merits emphasis that migraine is more common in women, with a female-to-male ratio of 3 to 1.
Everyone has a migraine or headache every now and then. Nonetheless, migraine is not a disorder to be reckoned with, as it can bear chronic repercussions such as seizures and stroke over time.
A point that merits emphasis is the considerable global disease burden attributed to migraine. Concerted efforts are needed to implement and improve migraine care that is supported by informed healthcare policies. Keep in mind, the unpredictable and disabling nature of migraine attacks have substantial negative effects not only on people who are directly affected, but also on their families, colleagues, and society.
Raising awareness regarding these chronic neurological disorders and lowering stigma is paramount this month for both health personnel as well as sufferers, so as to help prevent tragedies such as suicide borne by headache, migraine, and cluster diseases, as well as reduce the prevalence worldwide.
Let's now have a topic content give us results of day 6 of the Cameroon International Cycling Tour. His report in the French language.
L'hymne national retentit à Crise. Le Graal du cyclisme revient donner avant aux Camerounais. Clovis Kamzoma Borsolo est le nouveau maillot jaune de la 6e journée de la 17e édition du Tour cyclisme international du Cameroun en 18h31 minutes 8 secondes. Après avoir parcouru hier une distance de 711,1 km, Douala Kribi. Le sociétaire de la SNH Vélo Club donne un écart de 12 secondes à l'ancien propriétaire de la dite tunique André Jordan. Protéger ce titre pour les prochaines étapes est l'ambition de l'athlète camerounais.
On va travailler et on va se ramener ce maillot dimanche pour le vendredi. Je pense que l'étape de samedi, c'est une étape très difficile. On va récupérer demain et je pense que dès samedi, on va mettre la machine à marche pour pouvoir conserver encore le maillot par maillot et aller chercher aussi une victoire.
On rappelle, il y a de cela 8 ans de compétition que le Cameroun aborde son premier maillot jaune à un tour cycliste international 2.2 de l'UCI. C'est une immense joie.
Ce jour avait c'est le temps à 2 secondes. Voilà, 3 jours étaient à 2 secondes. Mais nous sommes à 12 secondes aujourd'hui. 12 secondes, c'est les jours de travail dans le cyclisme. On va travailler pour que ce maillot reste jaune à Yaoundé.
Dans la marge de cet exploit, son compatriote Paul Domon récupère son maillot vert après l'avoir perdu lors de la 5e journée. Le Bulgare Janov Nicolas de l'équipe nationale de son pays prend le maillot à pois rouge qui symbolise le GMP. Vainqueur de la 6e étape en 4 heures 18 minutes 40 secondes, le néerlandais Willem Sibrin se vêtu de son maillot noir et bénéficie d'une somme de 200 000 francs CFA. Pour ce qui est de la journée de ce vendredi 4 juin 2021, les athlètes sont en repos pour mieux reprendre les 2 dernières étapes qui marqueront la fin de la compétition le 6 juin prochain.
Thanks, Itape Konteng. With that sports report, we end this edition of Prime News on My Major Prime. Thanks for being a part. See you on Monday, God willing, at 6:30 Cameroon time for another edition of Prime News on My Major Prime. Ewane Eli Nolinga produced the news, coordinated by Faith Tata Berenyoy. My name is Genda Blanche. Enjoy a fresh edition of Prime Hour at 7 p.m. Cameroon time. Happy viewing, happy weekend. Good night.